Howdy folks, welcome back to Shallow Pockets Acres. This is the trail cam in behind the cabin. Looks like it's going from November 19th to roughly the same time in January, the first couple weeks of January. So this is a little before our rifle season. Here we got a few does in here. And then after the rifle season, which there are a few bucks on here that made it through the general rifle season here in Pennsylvania, and whether they made it through the fall or the after winter archery or muzzleloader season, I can't be sure of, but it's looking like we've got a few that's at least survived the regular rifle season that should be around for next year, I think. We got a doe in here feeding. And then I've also checked, I think, 5 different cameras now and have come across one that the batteries are dead in, and another one that the cold spell we had at least shut it down temporarily, because I have tracks in the snow in front of one that I was hoping to see what actually walked in front of it, but I simply got a video of the snow before it had tracks in it, and then me checking my camera yesterday, which it's the 29th of January as I'm narrating this one today. I finally got it put together last night. I've had the footage for a couple weeks, but just haven't had the time to sit down and get things put together. And right now I plan on getting 2 or 3 more put together today after I get this one narrated to where I can get it uploaded. A few more does in here, and it looks like the population is still doing pretty good. In 12-17, I think we're past the regular firearm season, because it was the last week in November. It comes in the Saturday after Thanksgiving, is 2 weeks later, which we're past that time period here with these does in here feeding. And I ain't sure whether that's Mama and a little one where Mama's laid down, or whether that's just 2 does. And then there's another one in the background you can see the eye shine from feeding. And then Mama got up and started moving around again, and with a yearling I feel they're feeding behind her. Whether it's her actual fawn or not, don't really know. Then they're going to decide to wander off, it looks like here. And I don't know if that's possibly a second fawn, but here we got that high 6-point that I really didn't get on camera until the rut time or later. Had him on a couple different ones, but he's made it through the general rifle season here and should be around for next year. And then we got some does feeding through again. or possibly some button bucks along with them, because I have noticed in some of these videos some of the smaller deer are button bucks. And some of them you can't get a good look at. I kind of think there may even be a buck or two in some of these videos that may have already lost their antlers at this point in the year, but can't get a good enough view of them to really say that for sure. But this is typical this time of year. It's after the hunting season, and the majority of the movement on my property is after daylight, because once the regular firearm season hits, especially, everything seems to go nocturnal feeding up on the top of the mountain. There's a pretty good doe group in there feeding here on the 20th of December. At least 5 different deer in there feeding, with the eye shines in the background and what's already walked through. Might be a couple more than that. And then back on the 23rd, looks like we got another, whether it's the same group of does or a different group of does. And I do plan on doing a frost seeding or late winter, early spring planting of clover this year. But in doing that, I need also re-lime everything again if I do that this year too. And hopefully can get some clover to actually stay around longer than a year's time, but I know my pH is still way low. But it seems whenever I do a late winter, early spring seeding, that the clover sticks around for at least till the end of that year. I haven't been able to get my clover to survive the following winter. And I'm also hoping that a few more of my chestnut trees at least start producing next fall. And then here we got this whether you want to call him a 5 or whether he was one I was calling a 6 earlier, because looks like the one briar tine got broke off sometime, and he's at least a second shooter buck for where I'm at in Pennsylvania. He's got 3 on one side. That's at least two bucks that I know of that's at least made it through the regular firearms season. And hopefully as I go through more cameras and we see more of that, or more different ones. And yeah, keep seeing these too, but then we got a doe in here in the daylight the day after Christmas feeding. I want to try to get this camera, find a spot for it where I can get more of the apple trees in the view of it whenever it's set off. We got one of the doe groups in there on the 31st. Which this would be the morning before we went up and spent New Year's Eve, so I'm trying to pay attention to that too, of how long after I go up and spend a night or whatever till the deer get comfortable coming back in. But this is actually before I ended up going up that day, and then this is the first video after is the 10th. But I know I have seen deer in there on the night that I've went up to stay before, but it's all in their movement up there, because it's not a daily movement up there. It's more of a weekly or bi-weekly movement whenever the same group of deer move through the ground. This here is one of the button bucks that I did take notice to. And I know there's a bigger deer, and I may have already missed it, that kind of looks like it may have lost its antlers, kind of look like it may have some bumps or missing antlers, but can't say for sure, because it is a bigger deer. And I'm guessing there are other deer around him in there feeding the way he's looking around. But he's not overly concerned about anything. He's listening and taking some time, doing some sniffing around.